first week.
Hi, good, how are you?
Peace building, or Jeff Montros's first week. He was dialing 911. He did like 6 times in a row. Now, this is our security guy. His first week. No, because you had to dial 9 to dial out.
Right.
One, then the area code. And they kept on calling the school, saying, you know, is there a problem? Emergency? And he did it like consecutively for like a half hour. And then they sent people because they thought like we were under distress and we weren't really telling the truth. Jeff turned a shade of purple. Dude, so embarrassed.
I had a phone that's the 9 or the 1 of them. The 9 or the 1 was sticky.
Yeah.
And at the time, it was years ago, it was Christmas Eve, and we were trying to call my folks in North Carolina. And we had the same thing happen where we dialed 911 by accident. And sure enough, didn't a sheriff come to the house? And we're like, right. Oh my God, what? And he was like, did you dial 911? We're like, no. And he was like, somebody dialed 911 from this. And I was like, and then we eventually figured it all out, but I was like, oh my God.
That's us, we called Verizon for service, and the same thing, my husband saw lights come up the driveway at 3 o'clock in the morning. And he got out of bed and grabbed the gun and goes to the door, and it's the sheriff with lights, you know, one in the back of the house and one in the front. And he's like, we've been getting a 911 call, so we had to come in. He checked everybody's bedroom. My husband was like mortified. Goodness.
And you're now posting this on the internet, by the way.
This is all right. It happens, you know.
It's okay.
All right, so I think this is everybody, unless a parent or somebody like a volunteer shows
Is
up.
Sushi coming, or?
He's, I guess online.
He's in, okay.
So he's online. Tara sent financials ahead of time. She's fine. She's just having some minor surgery. And then Chris said she couldn't make it. So she did send an email to everybody. It's funny. I turned on my email this morning at 8:30, and everybody. Who's sending me stuff at 1 o'clock in the morning? Seriously? Do you sleep?
No.
Good God.
Sorry, I'm on Adelaide time.
Oh, that's okay. What does that mean?
Australia.
Oh.
13 and a half hours off.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
It's the half hour that really screws me, but it's.
It's like, what is he
There's
talking
11 and a
about?
half. Am I right?
So, Jim, if you want to just give us
Sure.
an update, that would be great. And Jason, if you have anything else you want to
Two
update.
things.
Perfect. All right, so go ahead, Jim.
I just saw that, what I just got, is that the Common Core Task Force just released its new recommendations to the governor, so that's an interesting thing. And one of our students, Andrea Mosqueda, she was on the Common Core Task Force,
Which I think
and
is
her
cool.
name is printed right there on the all documents. So there was a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. I wanted to kind of ask from you. So we're beginning our recruitment drive. That's the biggest thing. We had our first info session today for counselors and principals of interested school districts.
Can I just pause for 1 second? Is this being recorded? So I don't have to take notes. Could I just get a recording of this for minutes? Because I just realized Bill's not
You should be
here.
fine, but the audio is the mystery question. So
Okay,
I would
I'll
still take some basic notes.
Okay, all right. Thank you. All right, go ahead.
So we had our first info session today. We had representatives from 10 districts today. I think that a lot of districts are just used to sending students at this point, and so we'll probably send the same number of kids. We did have some new school districts come prior to this day to get tours and find out about the program, and so we're very hopeful that they're going to send students. They seemed like they were going to do that, and they were Cap Region schools, so we're pretty excited about that. We have, I think, 5 different info session days, and I think that I sent out something to, I'll send out dates to you of the info sessions. I did send them out to all the tour guides, the people who usually do tours, to see if they were interested in going to some of the ones at Tech Valley. But I'm also very interested in having parent representatives at those meetings. We have 2, one in Hudson, one in Schoharie. So if people live out in that direction, I'd love to have people attend those, 2 parents who have kids here, who have had kids come through here. That would be very helpful. So I'll send you the dates maybe, and we can disseminate those. The other thing that I really like, and I saw that this has been done in prior years, and I think it's really helpful, and I also think it's a really nice gesture for parents who are able to go to local board meetings and just thank boards for sending their students to Tech Valley. I think that's a really nice gesture. So if parents could, find out when the board meetings are and get on the public speaking agenda and just say thanks. I think especially if that comes from a student, I think it's very meaningful to let boards know that that this program is valued. So I also sent out an email about John Yagelski's presentation next Wednesday at 6 p.m. The materials from the presentation will be up on the website shortly after that. He's presenting to a bunch of different people in specific order. So I don't know when the presentation is going to get put on the web, but it will be put on the web. Probably not the audio, but just the materials. So that's happening, and we're pretty excited about that. He did present to the BOCES leadership earlier this week, and it was very positively received, and so I'm looking forward to what John has to say. We have on the 31st of January to the 2nd or to the 4th of February, we're kind of in talks with Skodak and some other different districts to bring a Chinese delegation to Tech Valley. So we're going to be asking pretty soon through Chinese classes for families that want to house a couple of Chinese students. We don't need to house many of them. There are 12 high schoolers total. And those 12 high schoolers are going to be split up between us and Averill Park and Ballston Spa and Skodak. And so there'll probably just be a couple of families that we're going to be asking to house Chinese students. But they'll be coming with some teachers, and they're going to start in California, and they're going to end up here. And they actually are from our sister school in Tianjin. And so Dr. Chen, who we do trips with to China, is leading them on a trip across the United States and the handicap region. So their very final stop will be at Tech Valley. And so the last thing they'll do is a tour of Tech Valley, and we'll lead them through a project rollout. I'll probably have Jason actually do it. Sure. So lead them through a project rollout, and then we'll also take them on a tour of campus here so that they can see how that collaboration works.
Junior parents and senior parents have seen this before.
Okay.
So we are familiar with the process.
It's great
for hosting, because we used to do it every other year, I think it was. So it was 2 years ago when I think we did this class.
That's what I'd like to do. I'd like to make it the off year of the China trip so that we have a two-way partnership. That'd be great.
What grade are those students?
They said 9 through 12.
Okay, yeah.
So wanted to update you. So I talked about computer science at the last meeting, but I did have a meeting with a representative from Siena College, and it looks like it's really going to happen. So it's looking like next year it's going to be and designs curriculum, and we're probably going to end up with a TA or aide from Siena College who's a current student who has already taken these courses to help out our kids. And that'll be the first year of it. The second year, it'll be a college credit-bearing requirement course for juniors. So everybody will start taking it at that point. And they don't have any other schools who are project-based who are part of this program, so we're developing a curriculum for their course that's a project-based version of computer science. And they have little robot kits that they use too, and so there'll be some nice authentic creation. And yeah, that's all I wanted to say. So I already talked a little bit about the center of gravity and about that opportunity. So I'm pretty excited about that possibility. Also excited about some recent things that were done through the foundation board. I don't think I told you this last time, but the foundation board, we're working on a few things. One is a video game fitness center for the MPR. I'm buying some systems so that kids can do some more activity in the MPR, because we don't have a lot of space to do PE stuff. So had some kids do some research on the best systems to buy, and Mr. Cohen's going to go through that, and the foundation was nice enough to grant us some money to buy some of that equipment. They also granted us some money to buy some DNA kits for, I think it's 10th graders, and so 10th graders. So every 10th grader whose parent signs off is going to get swabbed. Freshman, 9th graders. So every freshman is going to get swabbed, and then 10 of those freshmen are actually going to have their swabs sent off to the Genographic Project and It tracks back their lineage 5,000 years, so it'll show you the migration routes of their ancestors. And it'll be, it's the teacher's way of reviewing the concept of global studies by tracking those migration routes. It's really neat. At first it'll be anonymous, but then at the end, the students whose stuff was selected randomly, they will actually get that, so those families will have all this cool information about their families. So that's pretty neat. We also got a new system upstairs in the biology lab. Biology lab is super loud. There's lots of kids in there. And so we got a nice new audio system that your son tried out one day by scaring the Jesus out of people.
That's my boy.
So that works pretty well, and so that's a system that is an audio system in that room, but it doesn't make the voices super loud, but it does cut through a lot of the buzz in that room. So there's a fan that's constantly going, a lot of ambient noise. So the goal of these systems, I actually worked at a school district where every classroom in the district had one of these systems. The teacher wears a little microphone, there's a little speaker system in the back of the room, and it amplifies the voices slightly. Teachers don't have to yell all day, so they stay healthy. Kids don't feel like they're being yelled at. And also, there's a lot of studies that show that kids, especially with attention deficit disorder, do learn better when teachers' voices are a little bit louder. And the last thing I wanted to say was that our robotics team, one of our robotics teams placed third at the unofficial VEX competition at RPI last weekend. Our robotics program, it's small, but it's got a heart of gold, and it's going to get somewhere someday. So we got a ton of grants. We got a NASA grant. We got another grant from Tech Valley from kind of Global Foundries. And so I think we got like $16,000 worth of grants. We actually got another grant too. Then they took it back when they found out how much we already received.
They can't do
Yeah,
that.
we got the acceptance letter, and then they rescinded it much later. That we're still counting. One of them we got a big check too. We got and
Tell us something like that at the bank though.
yeah, it's hard to cash a big check.
Yes.
So we are doing pretty well with that. We're trying to partner up with engineers on CNSE campus. We're looking for mentors for our robotics students. So if anybody is an engineer, knows an engineer, wants to help out with the robotics program, I can give them times that they meet. I imagine that during the first competition there'll be some after-school stuff and some Saturday stuff. And so there'll be lots of opportunity for people to get involved. But we really do want some partners on campus to help out with that. Students and professors alike, but there's other people that have now started coming forward to offer their help. So we're pretty excited, got a lot of stuff going on.
Fantastic.
Yeah, fine.
I have three quick things. Two quick things and maybe one longer thing. First, for liaison business, we have the picture retake day next Friday. I'm going to send another email blast out, just trying to get an understanding of how many are interested in retakes. Because in years past, we've maybe had a handful of students out. We had one student out that day, which is fantastic. And then I went through the pictures, the digital, and they all look great. So maybe, we had originally scheduled for 2 hours. And they, bring all their equipment and everything, and maybe we don't need that time. And maybe we don't need it at all. But I will send our e-blast. I think it would be worth their time if there is a handful, but there's not. Maybe we can set up different arrangements, and I'll work that. So I'm going to send out one more email just to gain interest in the retakes, and most likely I'll just, if there's a handful, I'll just shorten the time, maybe 10 to 11, 11 to 12, so they're not here for 2 hours twiddling their thumbs if we don't have that many. So picture retake next Friday. I'm going to send out one more email just requesting to let me know if you're going to get a retake in, so I can tell them what to expect.
So real quick on that,
Yes.
the senior side, do you have photos for all the seniors?
I do not, yes, I will get access to all the senior photos.
Okay.
If you did them with Lifetouch.
I was just wondering, because if you're going to have them here for retake day and somebody else who hadn't done it with Lifetouch before and still hasn't done it, is that something that they?
Yeah, that could maybe fill the time. That's a good point. Typically, it's 2 different equipment setups, though. I think that's the whole problem. They fill this room with senior portraits, and then we do a smaller room, but that's a good idea if we need to fill.
Yeah,
If there is an interest, maybe we could work something out.
all right, I'll float the balloon and see what.
Yeah, and I'll send an email to seniors as well, and, if there's, I think there was quite a few that went through, that was the most we had for senior, students taking Life Touch senior portraits here. I think there was like 13 that day, that's a pretty good
Well, I
number.
know the day before I tried, I looked at the
Yeah.
schedule to see what the options were, 'cause I already done mine, and there
Yeah,
were 2
it
slots
was
open.
completely
So,
overfilled, so that was a good turnout. Now, that's, for the yearbook, we just need a photo for they get a full page in the yearbook for seniors, so whether it's through, if it's through Life Touch, we'll have access to that. You just gotta tell us which one you want for the yearbook. If you wanna get it at JCPenney's or wherever, we just send me personally a digital photo in a high resolution, and I think I sent out the parents and the students some basic specs around that photo. It's like what type of resolution, DPI and all that stuff. And if we get that all in by February, we'll have no issues, because March and April we're usually humming. So that's for pictures. For what other thing? Oh, I think the finances with Terry are going well. The new processes, we did Google Sheets. Everything's been working well. No issues. It's been timely. Advisors, the club advisors, have been filling it out. Deposits, withdrawals. So I think that new process, everything's going well, and Terry did a great job reconciling everything. My gut feel was there was always extra money, and it was just not accounted for, and she straightened that all out, and that was the case. So that's good. Last thing I have is yearbook. So I just want to reiterate, all parents can have access to tree ring, and if you haven't signed up, I highly encourage you to sign up. One aspect is will help the yearbook club specifically is photos, but also gives a sense of community. So anybody can upload photos, whether it's parents, students, and if you go to, now I have a different view a little bit, I see all the folders, yearbook, but there's shared folders, so I shared like the Halloween photos we took at school. So you can, anybody can go through that, any parent. And then there's every year I put a TVHS pictures 2015-16 shared. I know there's no pictures in there. So please feel free you could go on the actual website and upload photos to the shared folder, but they also have a cell phone app. As students or parents are taking photos, upload it directly. So I really hope to see more photos, and then as you go to the home page, you can see like around Tech Valley. And I was kind of messing around with it. There's a lot of Halloween because that was a big.
So the Chinese New Year will get a bunch of.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a nice sense of community, share photos, real time.
Yep.
I know we also have Facebook pages and all that stuff.
We can even screen capture that and upload it onto the Facebook page.
Absolutely.
So is this what the yearbook club will be using to draw pictures from?
A lot of them, yes. A lot of pictures we take, so all the pictures there we take, we'll take a lot more throughout the year, but we're always needing more pictures. We're always in.
Two going.
A lot of Halloween pictures shared, but you see some recent ones too. So it keeps a timeline, so as you post, those like the most recent photos in the left corner, there's a lot of Halloween. Now, if anybody's having issues logging into TreeRing as a parent, just have them email me. I would like to give this group, just so we can blast it out, there is an access code that associates you with Tech Valley High School as a parent, and if I can send that to someone and blast that out, I think I said it before, but I'd like to send it out again. It's this huge code right here.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, it's a long one. So if you log in and says, oh, who are you, or you never logged in before, what's your code? That's the code.
And that's different than because I think I have an account because I bought the yearbook already.
If you already have an account and it says you're associated with Jackson and Tech Valley High School, you're all set. You're done.
Okay.
But this is for people who've never logged in before. And if you'd like, I could copy that and email it out.
Yeah.
Who would that go to? Just all you guys, or
Yeah.
If you send it to me, I'll.
Is that right? Okay.
Okay, well,
So Jason,
Yes.
anybody
is
want
there a
some
chance
seltzer?
you could create a folder for athletics Because the one set of photos that you guys probably won't get are when the kids from this school participate in sports, or it can actually be.
It's always the one we're always looking for more photos on, because we do a spread of our students in their home districts, and we're always wanting more.
And I
So I'd love
know
to
for
do
a
that.
fact that Seiji refuses to upload any photos he has, and so as a consequence, the parents have. So I meant, just
Absolutely.
thinking there are other parents in the same situation.
I will be happy to put a share folder. I'll do that right after.
That'd be
the
great,
meeting.
that'd be great.
And worst comes worst, you can always throw it in the share, and I can always move it, but I will create a separate share folder for athletics.
Yeah, maybe one for
Look at
home
the
district
robots,
activities.
robots.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, I gotta
Like
get it
just-
out of Google and throw it.
Yeah.
You know, feel free to dump it all in the share folder, and I
Yeah,
can always
yeah.
sort it out later, but at the very least, we can set up some standard folders, like athletics, red.
And you can do that
photos.
through the app too?
That's great.
Yeah, they should be able to do everything in the app.
Gotcha.
That sounds.
And just, on your phone already, you just make.
So I will blast this out to Mr. Colito, and that's all I have.
Don't forget, so we have your clothing and your clothing in bags right now.
Yes.
Yeah, that came fast.
Yeah, that was
The
great.
Tech
wasn't
Valley
it?
stuff?
Yeah.
They're pretty.
But my stupid poopy son wouldn't wear his sweatshirt to RPI this weekend. I'm like, buddy, I just bought this for you, wear the
Nice and
sweatshirt.
clean,
Yes.
Thank you,
right?
thank you. I have to like steal his sweatshirt away from him and wash it.
Chris mentioned that she's gonna reopen the sale sometime in early January. Does the
Spring,
school-
not early January, spring,
Oh, okay, spring.
Oh,
Yeah.
not until spring?
spring.
I heard you announced it. Okay, but that's all right. Jim, does the school need any of these things? Does it need donations? Or are you guys able to purchase?
I think that once people start seeing the clothing on other people, they're gonna want them. And so, the other thing that the school would like, I know that the kids are trying to open up a school store.
Yeah.
And they would really like some inventory. And so, if they could get some product so that they could sell it to kids at school, I think that would go over pretty well too.
I met with Savannah and, oh geez, Jenny, thank you. Ooh, had a little lapse there, getting old. And they asked about potential startup money, and I said PAC is a good way to potentially either donate or give you upfront money and then get paid back through PAC. So I kind of went through that process with them. And I said what they would require would be like a simple business plan. How much money are you looking for? What would be the inventory you're buying? Where are you buying from? What would be expected kind of, I think they get a feel for how much is selling. But I think it's a great opportunity, because that's real life, setting up a little business and going through those processes. So I told them, once they got that together, I would present it to the PAC. And if you guys want to donate or a lot of times we do upfront money, it gets reimbursed over time. Be happy to do that.
Can we move up committee and academics while Jim is still here, or are you going to stay for the?
No, I was gonna take off.
Good. So just about committee, and I was chatting with Mike after the last meeting, and we were saying, if there aren't any other ideas forthcoming, one thing we thought might be good is to look into STEAM education, so how to bring art into STEM education, and how Tech Valley, whatever the New Tech Network schools or other schools similar to Tech Valley are handling that, right? So would that be the kind of thing that you guys would find useful?
To find other examples of STEAM.
Yeah, so to bring ideas here to sort of help bring that, idea forward, because I think a lot of times things like that, a lot of people think it's a good idea, but until you have something concrete to work off of, it's hard to come up with a plan. We're happy to take on any project that you thought would be useful, but and I think you suggested that the PAC would be an appropriate place to bring up the conversation. So this can be that, right? So that's just one idea we have, but are there other ideas that you have or anybody else has that might be interesting, think would be as interesting or more interesting to do?
Is the slot we're missing the art music portion of this? That's your concern?
Well, Mike, maybe you can speak to this. I mean, I'm not as, enmeshed in it, it's just an idea that.
Yeah, I mean, I always felt, and I think that the research would back it up, that math without, science without art, right? Art is about communication in many different ways. And so, something I saw at the Franklin Institute in Philly was once there's a project that was so big that not a single person knew the whole project. And therefore what you need is communication skills in order to, and communication, arts is communication, right? Whether it's theater, whether it's music, whether it's dance, it's all forms of communication. And it allows, I think it allows for a deeper understanding, the idea of music and math. If you look at, the two competing teams that found the Higgs boson, you guys know what I'm talking about? The particle, the tiniest particle. Yeah. The two competing teams, the leaders of those were both musicians by trade who went into science later. One was a classical cellist, the other was a rock guitar player. Okay, so the connection between art and science has been well documented. And talking to John McGill, Steve had a really long breakfast with him. He was saying one of the things that the students have talked about most is not having music. That was the one thing that really stuck out. So how do we bring more art in? Right now they get 1 year of art.
So,
Well, before
No.
they never even got that, right? So this
Yeah.
is.
Okay, for a second.
yeah, sure. So there are a bunch of different art classes that are offered, and also we do one integrated art. There's an art and chemistry class that we do for seniors. But other than that, we have a 0.5 art teacher. I'll be right back.
Right.
What is your vision? Like, what is your vision for?
I don't know if I have to,
Yeah,
I think
it's just open up the
it's
conversation.
what, what Sushi says, to open up the conversation, look what other people are doing. It's interesting, I teach at a school where 99% of our kids are all special ed, and art is what sells our school, to kids all over the state. It's the arts that brings kids in. So, I think also, if you listen, they're talking about, we're going to board meetings, they talk about, STEM, and then now we have this relationship here, and I just think that we're not kind of realizing the importance of the arts, and we're limiting who our potential students are. And I look at, like my son's graduating class, there's at least one I know who went into architecture, which is kind of an arts, right? My son is a filmmaker. His, another student, Rob Yonkers, is a musical theater major. So, I mean, ninth graders coming in, eighth graders coming in, they don't necessarily know what they're going to do, what they want to be. I think we have to give them the option to investigate it all. And I understand we have a 0.5 art teacher. That doesn't mean we can't still do it. It's how do we bring it in.
And maybe sort of other small tweaks too. Like one of the things we talked about is, really the school year was, if a student has a lot of IWTs, is that right? Right. That if there is an art class slotted during that time, that they would have the option of maybe auditing or even registering in a class that they normally wouldn't be registered for. So, something like that. There may be ways to tweak it where they can participate without necessarily, especially if it's an audit, it may not even burden the teacher in the same way, right? It's not a fully graded and evaluated course. It's just a chance to be involved in that kind of environment. But I think that the point is to just explore options, right? What else I can say, just a bit more background, is, I guess I can see sort of 4 different ways in which, the arts could have a place in a place like Tech Valley. So one is about diversifying the student pool, right? So, it's a creative place, but there's some students who are interested in science and engineering, but they need to have sort of the arts or the creative side before they consider coming here, right? Another is, if you look at engineering schools at the college level, a lot of them are focusing on arts as a form of creativity, or inspiration for creativity, and in the STEM fields. And it's a problematic dialogue in some ways. I mean, creativity in the arts isn't exactly the same as, or it's not, totally coincident with creativity in science or engineering. But nonetheless, like RPI started an initiative called ArtX, which is specifically to bring the arts and the engineering faculty, science faculty together to do all kinds of visualization work, sort of perspectives, whatever. Our dean is a musician, to start with, and so it is something that's happening at the college level. And so to explore how you could make that part of a STEM high school, I think would be interesting. The art and science part, Mike's mentioned already. And then it's the fourth, I think, is sort of just student interest. That there are students interested in doing this. So if that's the case, and it's a part of the curriculum that's not fully developed, are there options to repackage what we do or whatever in a way that increases their ability to
Have
participate?
the students been asked
The students been asked
if
if
they
they're
want more
interested.
art, I should say?
I'm sure they would like more art classes.
Well, I think
I know
the students
that
that we have, it's obviously not as important to them.
Well,
because they're doing-
I only asked because we did the survey and of 65 kids,
Right.
there were 2 that,
Right. Then,
You know,
But I can tell you that 2 of my kids aren't going here because they're in the music program.
Yeah.
right?
But I'll also tell you that John Migelski said that that's the thing that kids most ask for is a music program. And let's remember, Steve Jobs was a designer,
Yeah.
right? He wasn't a technical guy, he was a designer.
How much flexibility, we could present that, I'm all for supplementing the education with those and making that available to the kids in an after extracurricular setting. But how much flexibility do we have to inject that into the day-to-day curriculum? Do we have any at all?
I think you should really start by understanding the classes that we are offering currently in the arts. And also, so I think that talking to Jen Muirhead, who's our art teacher, would be a good first step. And how also she's integrating into the science class right now, to get a sense of where she would like to go to. I think there's some flexibility in our schedule to add additional art classes and to use Jen more effectively. What we've talked about is how we can use Jen to push into classes, to integrate more into the classes that we already have. So to teach art workshops within projects in Jason's miniature golf course.
Yeah, there's
Or
Yes.
in an English, she did push into an English social studies class earlier this year and taught a workshop in design when they were designing ancient weapons or ancient artifacts. Some of them were ancient weapons, never problem. But so Jen had a lot of good ideas for how she can be of service in kind of the same way that a lot of schools use like a library media specialist. Get that kind of like integrated into the courses that we have. But we just have to work out that scheduling wise. But I'm sure she'd be interested in knowing what kinds of courses other schools are offering that have technology focuses, or how really tiny schools do the arts.
Well, just one thing I'd like to add is that, there's also arts for art's sake, right? Where art is one of the places where failure is not only allowable, but it's encouraged, right? Where we don't allow failure, we don't want failure in geometry, we want failure in art, right? And it teaches an important lesson. It also is not necessarily tied to anything. And besides that, in Jen, you also have Michelle, who's a trained, she went to Crane, she's a trained, pianist, right? Classical pianist.
She was a music teacher first. Before
Yeah.
she became a teacher.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so, I'm not saying that she has the time and wherewithal or whatever, I'm just saying we have resources in the building,
Gotta clone ourselves, I guess.
Yeah. On some time of the day.
So how does everybody feel? Is that an appropriate focus for us to start with? And Jim, are you okay with us?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. And I'm also okay with trying to figure out how we kind of put our toe in the water of doing more music stuff here.
It was
With the resources
interesting, my
we got.
son, he gave up the tuba, and he had played the tuba for many years, and I said, do you want private lessons, what do you want? And he said to me originally, I could live without playing the tuba long. But then halfway through the school year last year, an interesting phenomenon happened. He pulled out my keyboard and was online with a bunch of other kids at school, and they were playing around, and I was like, for somebody who doesn't want to play the tuba anymore, you seem to have all of a sudden this increased interest in music again. So, yeah, I mean,
I agree, I think it's something they're willing to give up, right?
but then they
Music.
realize, oh, maybe I can miss this. But sports was never an issue for
Right.
him, but the music piece
But
of
one of
it, I think.
and I'd be willing to help in whatever way I can. But the program that I teach at a school called the Charlton School, it's a residential school for, they used to say at-risk girls, but now it's really special ed girls. And my music program is almost completely digital. And so I can give you examples of what we do, but I could, help you integrate that if you would like, something where, because I have half a dozen recording studios and backpacks, and they're doing a lot of recording. And because of the nature of my girls, the fact that they live there, doing instruments is not something that we do. Except for, playing a little ukulele now and then because they don't have time to practice or they don't have place, the instruments get stolen or broken. So it's a totally different kind of situation, but it's when I see the girls doing, when I see girls, when I see Tia come home wanting to do a video, I have to do a video project, right? I have to do a podcast. Nobody's really teaching how to do video, right? And I also teach video production. So, how do you do video and how do you do audio production? And they don't really know, they're just kind of winging it, right? And so, again, doing a podcast and producing a podcast is part of that kind of technological part.
There's a lot of science behind audio production.
Absolutely.
And whatnot.
Well, what you said, that there's also art for art's sake. Art as a discipline in and of itself is very important, but I think also technology, just focusing on technology, we've talked about this too, like there's a need to specifically teach skills that kids need to use in the workforce. And we're not doing that as much. So we do a lot of the integrated kind of softer technology outside of like Jason's class or some other classes. Kids aren't using like SolidWorks. Kids aren't using, kids aren't using the 3D printer, for example, in a way that we would like. So they're printing out things that they find online, but they're not yet using it to design stuff. And I'd like to see more of that too. And that's a long-term goal of mine too, is that we start actually teaching. And that's why the computer science course, that's why the robotics course, because there is a need to do that technology on its own, not just as a support system for the other stuff. Same is true with art. And I've talked with Jen about this a lot, but sometimes kids need to get off the screen. It's why we still do 2D art and why kids are drawing and painting, and that we don't have we could do like a full digital lab up there, and everybody could be using Photoshop. But the goal for her, at least now, what she was seeing coming in last year, is that kids have a lot of screen time and need some time away from the screen to actually learning those design elements in
you think, I don't want to belabor this, but you think about the way they design a car, right? They start with clay. Right? Yeah. It's a clay, and then that clay gets 3D modeled, and then they can build prototypes from that. And that whole process is art and science and technology, right? And so, that's how you integrate that whole thing. There's art for art's sake, and there's all those.
Yeah. So I guess I want like a world-class technology and arts program.
And
I have a 0.5.
We'll do what we can.
A 0.5 technology teacher and a 0.5 art. So otherwise,
the phrase "cake and eat it too."
That's right. That's right.
You have enthusiastic students, which is the other main.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Major resource.
I look forward to hearing what you find.
Is it,
Yeah, you're.
for the minutes, is there a to-do that is coming out of that?
Thank you, Will.
This is just a consultation. It's on my I will convene the committee on academics.
That's what I was, so
and,
this isn't necessarily.
And I will draft a charge for the committee, which includes in both art and music. The scope will include art and music.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. Thanks for all you do.
Same here.
Free at last, Jim.
Feed my children.
I know. Yeah. It's been really here.
All right, so just really quickly, did everyone have a chance to review last? And thank you for converting them, because I realized when you send them out, I can only read them if I print them. They don't. Well, however, what format you send them in, it's like a text format.
Yep.
And unless I just don't know what I'm doing it wrong, and it could be a user error.
It's a Microsoft thing.
Yeah.
I have to print it to actually be able to read them. So
UTF-8.
It shows up as 4 lines on a
yeah, it's
window
only
base.
4 lines on
so
your attachment.
the whole like 8 paragraphs.
I can show you. I'll show you after if you want.
But no, it's really easy. So you just
Yeah, so,
Copy and paste in the Word
but did
document.
I
everybody,
just figured everybody could just read or ask these things. So, yeah.
You would
You would think that there's
I can't.
Microsoft,
I'm
Microsoft
sorry.
just messes things up. It's not you.
Oh.
I've had that
And it's
same problem
not you.
a lot of times, so I know.
So did anybody have any questions, wanted to add or change anything? The only thing that I noticed that I thought should be changed, and this is just a little thing, was you had, in our minutes, you had that Jim wasn't here, and it was actually Jason that wasn't here when we did the update last month. Jim was here, Jason wasn't here. Because I looked at it, wait a minute, Jim was here. So I just think it was just semantics to get the wrong name in there. That was the only thing that I saw that wasn't in line. You came very late. You were definitely, it was, because it was SLTs.
Oh,
So you were tied up in that,
that's right.
yeah. Yeah. So that's the only thing I noticed.
Yes.
I mean, if he showed up later, I'll just remove the.
We didn't show
Yeah,
up.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's no problem. So did anybody have any questions about that? Those are good. Did anybody, and if you didn't, no big deal, but any questions about what Tara sent financial-wise? Any questions on that? She sent I think she sent it like in the middle of the day today or last night, I don't remember. Today's kind of blurred for me. But everything looked fine for me from what I could see. So it was late yesterday, yeah. And then the only other thing was just like old business. Shoot, I just lost it. Oh, no, did everyone see like Chris's update on the shirts and all of that good stuff?
Did you say how much she actually sold? I didn't catch that. No, I didn't see a number.
No, so we should.
She said we did really well. Which is
Yes. I was surprised how quickly it came because I just had to come to my house, and I had them last week, Thursday or Friday, because I wanted Jack to wear it to the RPI thing.
Yeah,
So, but yes, she did well. And then the only other question, which I thought we had agreed to, was possibly adding $1 or $2 to the prices to turn it into a fundraiser type event. And I think we were all in agreement on that.
The
correct?
only thing I suggest is just one voice, so it can go a different way, but I think it'd be neat to keep the lowest price item at the price that it is, so if someone just wants to get something, they can. Because she suggested the bag, and that's only $8. And if we add $2 to that, that makes the most affordable thing a little bit less so. So I think just that one as it is, but tag it to the T-shirt and something else that's popular. Right?
Do we even know for sure that there wasn't money tagged on?
There wasn't, so this one,
I don't
this
think
time we
there
ran it as a
was.
non-fundraiser. Yeah.
Yeah.
The opening special.
So I did have a parent email me and suggest or ask if, maybe like the magnetic, my child is a TVH student type of thing, which might be something.
Or
that-
the car.
Yeah,
For the
which
car,
might be
that'd be
something good
nice.
for the
Yeah.
school floor,
Yeah.
you know? I mean,
I would totally put one of those on my car.
coffee
Yeah,
mugs.
same here.
I like the window decal.
Yeah, I'm
put
thinking
one of
that
those,
more.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
So those are options.
Yeah, maybe even that's something the students could put in the store
Yeah,
or something. But
absolutely.
a parent asked about them.
That's a
Those
great
would-
idea.
Those would be hot. They'd be very easy to
Plus,
buy.
you know, how many times you go around saying, the Don't Stewart stickers on cars.
Mhm, mhm.
You know, it's marketing, it's advertising.
That's-
It is.
And I was a part of the Business Alliance Communications Committee, and that, the whole focus of that was meeting last week and talking about marketing the school from both a recruitment perspective, so parents and kids would be interested in coming here, but also to get even increased business interest.
Mhm.
We have a lot of business interest, but even to get more
Awareness.
community awareness, that
Yep,
type
yep,
of thing,
that's
so
great.
absolutely. Did everybody buy stuff from the store, just out of curiosity? I know I did. I
My
bought a
daughter
pillow and
didn't
a,
want.
Well,
Did not.
and that's
Bea
okay.
is the love rebel. She's great.
She's a rebel.
She's-
She's a rebel.
Really
We
nice.
love that.
Sweatshirts are great, yeah,
Everything is on.
yeah, so, okay.
There's gonna be, another opportunity for it.
Yeah, in the spring.
In the spring, well, no, she actually in this
She said
email says
January, yeah.
early,
Yeah.
technically she says early 2016, so we can all interpret that
Well, there's also a good
early
chance
as January or as late
once
as
people
April.
see things,
Right.
they're gonna want them.
And if you
And I
get as well
told
as you
Jack
did-
I would like to have him wear his, obviously, when the polo, I got him a polo and a sweatshirt. And I told him, I said, the polo is what you wear when you go to a field trip out to a business,
Yeah.
or maybe when you present, or if you know
Absolutely.
people are coming in to present, put the damn shirt on.
Yep.
So they're ambassadors when they're doing the
Right.
tours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly, which he did a tour.
The one thing about
last
Wicked
week.
Smart is, I know they only said you do it twice a year, but if we did really well for the size of the school, this may be very well one of those things that's, oh, you can do 30.
Sure.
You know, it would not surprise me in the least of them, so.
Yeah.
So that may be
Alright,
a
good.
thing too.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, so that's done. So did everyone have a chance to look at the survey that Jason?
I
Yes.
did.
Check that
Good
out.
job, Jason.
That was so interesting. Now what do we do with it?
I think it's the
I-
Want me to put it
multi-event,
up? You want- I
the
can put it up.
multi-event
Yeah.
model, right?
There.
What
Board share.
Oh, that would be
Yep.
great, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's a little hard to read at the.
I know, you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, right now,
Because it
no.
wasn't- I took a picture of
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
and saved photos, so.
But
I'm like looking at it right now.
I don't feel so bad for not seeing it.
I would say I'll have pick the top 3 or 4, and that's the event, right?
And if more
So that's
people
what.
I mean,
responded.
I'm happy that
in a sense.
65 people responded. We didn't
Yeah,
have many.
that was fantastic.
Right, that
So
was.
whatever it
I've
was.
also been for more, but
Was this for fundraising ideas? Because,
This was
No,
for
no, it was
multi-activities,
Sorry.
fun night survey.
Fun
quiz.
night.
right, right,
Can
right,
I please have your email address?
yes. The easy one, Mike Dimon, MikeDimin
You're going way too fast. I've had a long day.
I'm sorry.
Mike,
Dimon,
D-I-M.
MIN, @gmail.
Okay, I'm gonna forward this to you.
Okay.
I can't right now because I'm not online, but I
That's fine.
promise I will forward it to you
Okay.
because when you walked in the door, I was like, oh, I didn't send him anything. And you always come to everything, so you might as well see what's going on. I wanted you to see it.
But we're gonna see it here.
Yeah.
Looks like.
So this is all, those statistics are all part
Oh,
of,
thank you.
the ability of Google Forms. So
Yeah, yeah.
It wasn't me putting that together, it was a click of a button. So, if you have access, if, you know what's a good idea, I don't know if you have, PAC should have a Google account.
We
do.
We do.
We do?
In fact, we're live right now.
Sorry,
We're
I could
broadcasting.
just I could share PAC. With the Google
TVHS pack at Gmail, and then I think it's pack@techvalley.
Okay, I'll start sharing documents like this as we go forward. And so let me look at tools, response, form, show summary response. You just click that button and boom.
There it is.
There you
Boom.
go.
I think we had a few more responses.
Wait,
So-
so
games, that's surprising.
this wasn't a radio bullet kind of thing. These are just words that they put in.
No,
So
you-
I- So I came up with a list, just through talking with students in
Right,
advisory,
right.
you know, like our advisory program, just, okay, give me some ideas. So we had a list, so there was, if you want to take a look at the sheet itself, let's look at the live form. So we could, see what it was, go to live form.
Mhm.
So
There it is. Got it. Yeah.
this, well, I apologize, I don't know why that is showing.
That's all right.
So I was,
No way there.
the one thing I thought was that movie night might have shown up more if it was one of the options. It was in at least 2 or 3 of the subjective responses, because I read
Okay.
through the.
Yep, I apologize for
No,
not
no, no,
having
no,
that
no,
list.
it's absolutely
No,
the
it's-
So we
public,
just
but-
had
yeah.
them, you know, click, if they're interested in these
Right.
things, and then type in
Yeah,
if there was
whatever else,
something
right.
specific, and then if they had even more ideas,
Yeah.
throw it there.
Yeah.
So it kind of, you're right, I wish I had even more
No,
on
no, no,
this on top.
it's great.
I was trying to think of the conversations we were having,
Yeah.
and then I was getting some, so at least.
Alright, what the hell is this?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, that's so it's not just me? Egyptian rats?
Rats
tournament.
I have a feeling if I
Probably
Google,
don't
I
want
don't
to
know.
know.
Okay, 'cause I was a little disturbed by that.
But here's the thing, don't, when they fill out the form, they're logged on, so don't you get who?
Yes.
Yeah, you
I
know who it
do,
is.
I know
Yeah.
exactly who.
It wasn't mine, was
We
it?
shall not. Yeah.
But if I look at this list, I would say, you had pretty good significant, participation in team trivia, karaoke, open mic music, a tournament, magic card tournament, board games, art crafts. So
I was surprised in the karaoke.
I would,
Yeah.
now the other
Are the suggestions.
are these
Click
eight,
them
and
all.
then these are like just the type bits.
Dodgeball, there's a lot of dodgeball.
Yeah,
There's,
and anybody can
Movie
type
night
it.
and anime, which are sort of related.
So I would say,
Dangerous.
you know, if I were to order it, so board games was the top, then team trivia, then arts and crafts, then karaoke, then magic card tournament, music. And then I would, if we wanted to send out another form, say, we got one more room open, would it be movies, would it be maybe some ideas from here? Maybe that's an option. I think there's enough here to say, hey, we can have a multi-event fun night and have some good
Right.
I mean,
participation.
so how many of these things do you think we practically can or would want to do on a given night? And also, should we do trivia again or leave that a separate event because we've done it already?
Well, why would we not do it
Yeah,
if 42%
it was-
say that they want to?
A lot of people want to do it again.
Okay.
And I think there's a
Egyptian
lot of
wrestling,
people,
by the way?
do it again.
a lot of people that
It's
didn't
actually
do
clean.
it, it's wanting to do
It's a
it.
card game.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
It's kind of like war, sort
Yeah,
of.
Oh, okay.
So, I'm mildly surprised.
With rodents.
So I
What are you
think
doing?
so I think if we make the choice to do 2 or 3 events, right, we definitely have to recruit the helpers.
Yes.
To monitor and or run the different groups.
All right, well, so how many would we want to do at, like, if we were gonna do a night, would we want to do like 4 things? Is that too many, or could we manage 4 things?
Well, if you
Because we
have,
could kind of do, like, what I'm thinking was, this kind of goes in line with what Mike had been talking about with the open mic.
Yeah, that would
Almost
be
kind of
cool.
like a talent show,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a fun
yeah.
talent show.
Absolutely. The
So
bottom.
that could be like 1 right there.
The board games
Board
are
games
doing
would be 1.
You can do like a tournament or something, trivia tournament, like all these different tournaments going
Yeah.
on.
My biggest concern is that if we do too many things,
They're-
they're gonna have to, they're,
choose.
yeah,
choose.
they're gonna miss, they're gonna miss. So,
But that doesn't mean we can't do 2 a night, right? And
Right.
Oh, we could do that
All
too, I mean,
lines. You
yeah.
can say, hey, this is gonna be in January, this is gonna be in March or February.
I think the multiple things at one event is a good idea because it came up last time.
Yep.
That some folks really love the trivia, but others were not interested at all.
Yeah.
So
You know,
they
so
could
by
do,
having the complement, they have a choice, and then they're much more likely to come. I think the key is we don't want to have so many activities going on that each one doesn't have enough
Gets
people
diluted.
to.
right.
Yeah.
We don't want that.
So, because for trivia, you need a good chunk of people. I think the board games and the magic can be combined. It's just open up a game room and let them do whatever, games they want, and then that's pretty. I would sort of vote for not doing video games.
Yeah, I wasn't leaning
Get
towards
enough of
that
that.
one, Mike.
There's
I
no
was
video
thinking
games.
It's not on there, but yeah.
board games I thought
Well,
was.
it was one of the comments below.
Oh,
Well,
gotcha.
and also it showed up at the last time, one of the game nights that we did. Some kids brought in the Xbox and hooked it up to the big projector.
Yeah.
And I would rather use that projector to do a movie if we thought a movie was a good complement, right? The nice thing about a movie is it doesn't take a lot of work and it's very passive, so we just let it run.
Let it run.
On the other hand, it's not as social in some ways,
Right.
so that if for that reason we don't want to do it.
I will say the one thing about a movie thing is that there are some licensing constraints.
Yes.
You want to be
Yes.
correct about it, and then you
But-
can't necessarily get all the movies you would be interested in getting.
Yeah.
And I think it's usually
Can't do
50, but it's not, yeah, Disney, especially, there's a site you can go to, is it $50 a shot or something like that?
Really? I mean, because we did the
So-
and then we show movies.
I was gonna say, I
It's just
can't,
not necessarily legal.
Yeah.
so I can't bring Alice in Wonderland from a DVD player and play it?
I mean, it's.
Not if you charge for it.
Not
No, not at all.
Okay,
Not
so.
Public
for charge.
performance
Yes,
is the
that's
restriction.
right.
What is
So you can't do it legally. I mean, there are many people that do it. What is important is that if you do screen them, well, if you're gonna be illegal, the important thing is that you not publicize it in any way, including Facebook, email, or anything. You just say there's movie night, that's all you say, the film is not announced, because if it's in there, they'll search, there's search engines, crawlers going out and looking for these things.
And don't have a parent that works in the industry.
Well, yeah, that too. So,
Why don't we just start with what's the goal of the
I
event,
thought the
right,
goal
and
was
see if
to
everything
have-
lines up with that,
yeah.
right? What's the goal?
I think that if one of the things we talked about was encouraging social interaction,
Yeah.
which
Right.
I would
Not
take
innate.
moves right
yeah, so see, that's what I was wondering, that's why I mentioned it, but
So
asked
do
the
we
question.
think maybe just 2 events? Like
Yeah,
for
they're-
one, like do the open mic karaoke, music poetry thing
In one room.
and then board
Board
games
games.
and stuff in another room?
In tribute.
Well, I know you like the trivia.
So I'm on the trivia, I
You're
just
so
wonder
trivia.
whether we'll get enough people if we have 3 things going on.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
Like,
Remember,
we
this
just
is
do-
including
Yeah.
parents either.
Right.
This is
Right.
69 students.
But if
Well,
it's
based
a
on-
big event, a lot of people might come. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have,
Yeah.
see, I'm thinking the other way,
Yeah.
that we're gonna have quite a few come this next multi-event.
And I
Yeah.
can
More
tell you
things
that,
people interested
Because
in.
trivia night worked, and now there's other things they can come to as well.
I think you would have at least.
and the kids that didn't go to trivia night,
Yeah.
after they found out how great trivia night was.
Right, there was a lot of
Wish
buzz.
they
Yeah.
would have
So,
went
so,
trivia
so
night.
how hard was it to set up trivia night? That's really.
Well, it has
the
to be
question.
longer.
It was
Because-
easy.
It wasn't hard, frankly, the hardest part was Mr. Fagan putting together all the stuff. So I can't
So we
speak
could ask him
for,
whether he's willing to
we
do
could
it.
ask.
Yeah.
we could add, or if
Time
someone
rounds.
else.
Or there's a different way to, like, you just take standard Trivial Pursuit
Right.
Exactly.
questions
You know
and
what we're
run
playing
with
at
that, right?
home? We
Yeah.
dug out of my in-laws' attic,
Yeah.
the like original
Original.
Trivial Pursuit
Yeah.
from the 80s, which
There you
is
go.
We'll do great.
We'll do great.
Fail.
Parents will win.
I won't come to last this time.
Where's the 80s?
They're all
There doesn't
kids.
be-
They're all
I need the 90s myself, because once you get out of the 90s, I like completely go down. Like, I don't know what happened to me.
So
I
I
will
have-
say what I really liked about the trivia night, which I was skeptical about, was the format. Because
Yes.
it really did keep everybody involved to
It
the
did,
very
it
end.
did, yeah.
Where
Which
if
was
the
great.
format
Mhm.
was not quite so A, B, C, D option, it could have been a blowout
Yeah.
the third
Yeah.
round.
Yeah.
So I think if we do it again, we should
That
definitely
was-
keep.
Yeah.
I mean, I know, and like I said, that's why maybe we just, do you think 3 is too many?
I do.
That's what I'm worried about.
I mean, I'm afraid if you do trivia night, karaoke, music, and board games,
That's kind of spreading it a
who's gonna
little.
lose out, right? Somebody's gonna lose out.
One of
and
those
then-
things won't pick up.
Right.
The other side
So
is
should
you
we
can
do
always do
2
two in the
nights?
first one, and then see what happens before you plan your next night.
Yeah.
If 2 wasn't enough,
Mm.
Or
or
we can do one each month, or, 2, like you said, each month we
Well,
could do
so
it.
shall we just
2
use
event
collective
night.
intelligence, just poll, everyone on here, which do we think is better, 2 or 3 events? I think it's that range.
I think
of
2.
thing. It's-
Before you get there, the other thing is you can have one and then followed by another.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Well,
Or
true, I mean,
stagger step.
So
Like
instead of
one
trying to
big
extend
trivia
trivia night
night,
longer,
maybe
let
And then-
karaoke.
open mic or the board game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that way people who are doing trivia, they might want to see their buddy doing karaoke.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
Well, I think
That
that
could be
the
good.
issue becomes, at
How
2:30, somebody has to be here to watch the kids that are staying after and be willing to be here till 10 o'clock at night.
well, here's the thing, if there's a
That-
karaoke open mic,
Well,
whatever.
I know
I
I
mean,
can't,
when
I
I
did it
was, last time
but
we
there
were, I was
We
here
were the ones
at
that were
2:30, and by 8 o'clock,
I was
I'm
ready.
12
I
minutes
was
away.
so tired.
Call.
If there's a karaoke open mic kind of thing,
Russ.
I would come early and I'd let the kids practice,
Yeah.
so they
Yeah.
know, for those kids who've never sung in a microphone, so
I want
I'd
to
be
do
there.
karaoke.
Yeah, let's do
Yeah,
it.
you-
I don't know, I
Don't
don't
I
know.
would highly encourage not having parents appear.
No, I know,
Son,
Jack would
daughter,
feel like I'm good
it's
at.
your free.
Although
All
I'm
the
very,
kids are gonna
actually,
be-
I'm a very
yeah.
good singer, he would have nothing to be a good
I'm
parent.
not saying that.
I'm actually,
I think you just.
You know, I have no
Yeah.
problem embarrassing my son.
There's that too.
Yeah.
And,
all right,
the
so-
regular one.
I would do
Um,
two.
I would do 2.
You do karaoke and then you do a card game in the other room. Where, if the kid is introverted, they go into the card room. If they're extroverted, they go to the karaoke.
That's actually a good point.
Give options to each type of personality.
Well, I was just gonna say, I think that we have to be careful, right, if we do 2 really popular
Right.
things
Right,
at the
that's-
same time.
But don't we want to do popular things because then we want more people
Yeah,
here?
yeah, yeah.
Right, that's
Well,
what
I
I
think
think,
because
that's
it's-
the point.
Intro and extroverted kind of activity.
Could kids add more than one thing, or they can only add, they
They
can
have
only
2
click one?
boxes that they could add.
They can click on 2.
You could type in 2 comments, yeah. One was.
But they can only click one on
Oh,
one.
no, click as many as you want.
Oh, they could, okay.
Yeah, so that's why it's.
Let me make a case for 3, just to give the whatever, right? I'm just thinking that, one of our goals is to get everybody there, so just to offer enough variety, for all the kids to say, hey, I can get into that, right? And, try to get the whole school to come, or whole school to come. Also, the one that I hope this is okay to say, but the one I'm thinking may not draw a lot of kids is the open mic music stuff, because it's skill-based and it's sort of a challenge. And, if kids are already here for a trivia night, and the folks working on the music can just sort of rehearse or do whatever, and they don't want to do the trivia, then they'll be ready to perform, and then the trivia night, you know, kids would all be there as a potential audience, right? Because when you perform, it's nice to have an audience.
So
there.
my thought was a little bit different,
Okay,
right? Would
yeah.
you group together karaoke, open mic, all into one?
Yeah, no, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
But
Those three
We
would
would,
want.
yeah, that would
they would
be
spill over from the trivia night. The audience would spill over from the trivia night, which would end earlier, and then they'd be the audience for the.
Well, my point being that karaoke is not talent-based.
No, karaoke is.
Right,
Yeah.
and my child who's not very talented would love to do karaoke, but she'd be very inclined to also want to do the trivia. So I think that either, like you said, you have to stagger it if you're doing two that are really popular, or you have to take this approach and do one that's very involved and one that's a little more sedentary.
I think we could stagger it and it could be a lot of fun.
But
I really do.
Because the trivia was only about an hour and a half. Right?
Yeah.
Isn't
Yeah.
that what it
We
was?
could easily do.
And
two.
a lot of high school events are like 3 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if you think of all the effort people, you know,
And
spend
on
to get here,
karaoke.
right? Having some time, I think.
Popcorn.
The thing is with the trivia, you're locked in, and with the teenagers, they're gonna wanna be fluid. They're gonna
Well,
wanna
we
go
could also
and
change the,
watch.
like, so what we did with the, you didn't come to
No.
trivia, so when we
Yeah.
did the trivia last time, what we wanted to do, because it was only trivia, we made sure that everybody could participate in every round, so it was a points-based winning system, not a
The
tournament where you
format
knock
helps
someone out.
everybody.
So
Yeah,
you
you're
could do
locked
a
in.
different you could do a different format where
Right,
it's
it's
more
elimination,
tournament based, and then
Exactly.
people get knocked out earlier, and then they would have the options to do the other
So either
thing.
stay to watch who wins or to go.
Or go
Right.
participate.
So that's a possibility too.
I think the format of each event is going to really drive how successful this is going to be.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. We also have Chinese New Year. What exactly is that, please?
What, when?
I
We
think
really talked
Are you
about
talking
because
last year?
I came, I just don't remember.
Yeah, it's in February.
I loved it, I came.
Yeah, but it floats.
Well, my
It's the
point
lunar
is
calendar.
that, what do we need to plan first? Do we need to plan Chinese New Year
So
first,
I-
and then
Yeah.
I
keep this
ran
discussion?
Chinese New Year last year with Miss Shaw, and I'll tell you that if every student pays $5, she has a person that will come in,
Right.
bring the food.
Yep, oh, I know, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it was really effortless. She has every decoration you could possibly imagine,
That's,
right?
but is it like the end of January, beginning of
I don't know.
February-ish?
But it can vary by as many as 28 days, because it's a lunar calendar.
Right.
So that's why you have to look it up. to
They're
find-
like,
What?
they're like
You're the,
just ahead of me.
February.
February 8th, okay, yeah.
Which means you gotta start planning now.
Yeah.
Well, that was my whole point. We're talking about this a lot, and I want to do this,
Yeah,
but can we chew on this and then, or if Chinese
I
New Year is
think
that easy, then do we
it
not
really,
need to?
it really
work out.
Yeah, we
is.
do have to start.
Do I see that right in the middle of you?
It really,
Yes, you do. Beginning of that.
Oh, we didn't do it right
We
on
didn't-
time.
no,
today.
we
didn't do it.
looked
We did it on, like,
yeah, it was
Friday.
somewhere nearby, right.
Yeah.
So.
it
we
really
did the
is
Friday
that
before,
easy.
but-
Okay.
Miss Shaw has somebody that will come in and entertain. But I will tell you, because of the turnout last year, I would be a little fearful that the cafeteria is not gonna be big enough to feed everybody.
Really?
I mean, Pack had never had an event that go over that well. It was pretty substantial last year.
We were full up, we used every day.
It's a
Yeah, we
smaller
did.
facility than what we had
Yeah,
in the past.
so I mean, I don't know what this, that would be my biggest concern. If that's the only place that people can eat, then they might have to eat, and we might have to do entertainment, and I don't know. I don't know the answer, but that's something we should really consider.
Oh,
I mean, I thought it was crowded, but
Over,
it was definitely crowded. But it was kind of nice to have people I didn't know and
Yeah.
met some people.
but what if you have another 30 people? Then you don't have any room at all.
Well, I mean,
I think that's
could
my
it be
concern.
something you could break up into pieces? Like, I don't know, there's what, two large, NPR down here, this room 102, right? On this
Well,
floor,
it's sort of-
all the way upstairs, I'm just spitballing here.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The
Yeah.
entertainment
Well-
maybe could be in a different space.
well, and if it's the same entertainment that was last year, it was those dancing guys.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that was really cool, but the hallway probably would be better for them.
Well, yeah,
It's longer and bigger than,
I don't know,
that
yeah.
small
You
room.
know, or, you know, for that performance part, people can, you know, they don't all have to be sitting at a table. I mean, people can file into the room and, you know, stand in remotely and watch. So, but yeah, I like the idea of having an alternate activity available in the, whatever that room is, where the board meets, right?
We
That's a
definitely
nice
think we'll
size.
need more space.
Yeah,
I mean,
because then it's an automatic overflow, so then people can self-select and say, it's too crowded in here, I'm just gonna go over there,
Mhm.
right? Are they allowed to bring food to other
Well,
rooms,
that
or
would
is
be
that
my
against school
question
policy?
to the teacher or something, I don't know.
Because food is pretty portable, it's sort of put on your plate and,
Yep.
you know, take,
Yeah.
so.
Right,
so-
Is there a way to do food that's maybe more handheld, as opposed to having to sit down at the table?
No,
You know what I mean?
the food's sort of set, because
Right.
it's this standard, you know, they get the big bins of
Yeah.
Chinese.
I'm just,
And it was really, geared, you know, we said to Ms. Shaw, you do Chinese lunches, you get what the kids eat, because
Yeah.
that's what it's about.
Right.
I mean, it wouldn't have been my first choice, but kids like the sweet and sour this and the whatever.
Jello beans and whatever.
Right.
Mhm.
It's really cheap.
But- Right.
Yeah.
But my concern is just more people, that we'll have that many more people, right? We have an enthusiastic freshman class, parents, you know, participation. I just think we have to think about space. That's all.
well, there's also, you can have them eat in shifts assigned, this group and then this group.
Yeah, it's a little less fun.
I just don't know if
Yeah.
you can move it off-site, because that's
Yeah,
where
you
we have
can't
no
really
choice,
go on
right?
it.
Well, Jason, can they eat, does all food have, do you know, does all food have to be eaten in the cafeteria?
I mean, our usual policy, as long as there's no carpet.
Right.
So there is another couple rooms where you could potentially eat it. It would be the art room in 205, and 211. I mean, I think we'd get permission for that. Because the big thing is the carpet.
Yeah.
I think if we were controlled and there was no food moving in the hallways, no, like students, and there's no foods on the carpet.
Chinese food.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But that's the big thing.
It's the kids running through the
We
hallway.
could pitch that, hey, if we had it controlled and set up in one of the labs where there's no carpet and there's no food leaving there, I think it'd be okay. But we'd have to control it.
Okay, well, we'll
And
just have that.
we would know enough ahead of time, I mean, once we request the head count by a certain date, you always have a handful of students that paid the last day or whatever.
So the art room and the two labs are the only other rooms. with-
Or you do, everybody eats in there, and then you do the other stuff
Yeah.
in the other rooms.
Right.
Well,
Oh,
you
no,
can
no, part of it,
actually,
no.
And the other thing you can do,
sell
is
tickets.
you can have a sellout,
You can
X
sell
amount of people sold out.
Pass down the dinner tickets,
Good point too.
so you eat during this interval, right? So then, as long as you have.
Trash, I was just saying, you can have X amount of tickets, we have 150 tickets or 100 tickets and that's it.
I hate to turn anything down, but yeah.
You hate to do it, but, there's,
Well, how many did, if you.
That'll sell out, so.
Probably a pretty full house.
Right, I mean, I could probably dig and get some numbers, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, because like I said, you always have stragglers, and she was fine not having the information until noon,
Yeah.
right? She gave them the phone call, and at 6 o'clock, they, an army of them
Yeah.
brought all the
Amazing.
food.
Yeah.
But,
But we also have to tell Ms. Shaw, well, ask her, first of all, but then also, she needs to contact the cultural center, whoever.
well,
it
and
is.
that's another thing, do we want to do the same thing? She's going to ask, do we want to see what other options there are?
Yeah,
I mean, they were very good, the people that came here, but.
They were, but,
something
we
different might be-
also, the newer kids, it's just the freshmen that.
Has
Haven't seen it yet.
experience.
Yeah.
So it would be better to have it be fresh, because if it's the same thing as last year, the sophomores and the, upperclassmen may be less inclined to come. So if we do want it to be popular,
Yeah.
we might want to mix it up a little bit and advertise it as you're gonna still see different stuff.
So,
So, I'm sorry, I was just gonna say, Jason, so in February, the first 2 weeks for J-Term, the third week is vacation.
So, the first week in February is for junior. So 2 weeks, underclassmen, 1 week for lowerclassmen.
And then break.
That's even worse.
Right?
And then break.
So could we do it on Friday, February 5th? I mean, even for the juniors and seniors, is it such a big deal to come back to the school for a big event?
Well, I can tell you that my daughter is spending 2 weeks in New York City,
So that would be harder, yeah.
There's some kids that are traveling here.
right? Usually the juniors and seniors will be
Then
there.
what is
Yeah.
January 29th, what's that week with the pink and the?
That's just Regents identifying if you like to take a Regents exam, that's when Regents Week is.
Okay, but Friday you're done.
29 is the end of the quarter.
Oh, that's before.
So
Oh, they-
celebrate-
Yellows mean we're not here.
Yeah, so celebrate the end of the quarter, do it on the 29th. Would that be a nice choice?
Which is really 4 weeks if you consider the holiday.
Yikes. Yeah, so,
So we're suggesting that for the Chinese New Year. not
And
for-
what was the date
Yeah,
exactly? February 8th, is that what you said?
February 8th, yeah, it's close enough.
Close
I think
enough,
we're that far away last year. It wasn't right on the Chinese.
Was this in
Yeah.
lieu of the multi-event night?
No,
No, we do the multi.
I think that would suggest the multi-event night is sometime in March, which is sort of in the doldrums between February and
Yeah.
April break, right? So
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
March.
that's a good idea.
All right,
And that
throw
gives us
back
some
that after the kids have been off and away for a full week and done with their J terms, maybe that would be something to throw on
Celebrate.
26th.
That'll be good
26th, yeah, that would be good. That's a full month
Oh,
away, so
last
yeah.
Friday in February?
Right.
Yeah. Kind of like a celebration
Winter.
of all your
Oh, yeah.
They're all
residents.
back and,
And their presentations are that week too for,
right.
Okay, I like that.
iTerm.
You know, the other thing.
And they're not, you don't think they're too close together?
A month apart is okay. If closer than that, I'd be careful.
Well, the only thing I would say about scheduling 2 things in the dead of winter, you might end up having to cancel one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what you just postpone, right? I mean, the game night you can
So
postpone.
let's have just
Yeah.
a optional day, just in case that happens.
So, right,
Right.
so, the following Friday, right?
Maybe, yeah, maybe make the following Friday for each one.
Yeah,
Sure.
that makes sense. But if we have to cancel the 29th for the New Year, then it has, then we
Yeah,
have to
fifth.
leave it, because I mean, there's just no time.
Okay, so 26 would be the 4th, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, alright.
So,
So I'm sorry, I would just say that, I'll reach out to Ms. Shaw.
Sure.
Do we have any, parents who volunteered for this?
There was a couple,
so that's what I
that
was
was
gonna
my
ask,
next,
right.
that was my next topic, so
So
let's go right into
it's
that.
sort of, I guess as a pack, we need to make a decision about whether the social events committee is planning events or whether the PAC is planning events. It kind of looks like we are,
Well, I was gonna
Right.
say, given the
Yeah.
people that are here every week,
every month.
every
Yeah.
month.
Well, so I guess my understanding of it was that we would be probably planning the events and then they would be assisting with social.
Execution.
Execution.
Well,
But I'm not
Yeah, that's okay.
opposed to having
Yeah.
the people do that. We asked for volunteers and we really haven't gotten as organized as we probably should be with those committees. I know the
But-
academics
and
when
I'm-
you're bored.
No, but Miriam, it's, you're the chair and it's your choice. I mean, I don't care which way, so I'm happy to facilitate whatever. We should probably explain to those folks what role they can have, but we have a separate list of folks who wanted to volunteer for single events, right?
Right.
So there's a couple.
And there was
who
more
said-
people that wanted to volunteer for a
Yeah,
single
but
event,
no,
so that's
not
why I'm
striking,
thinking
right.
we
So-
should,
We could just ask them to, to be more like single event volunteers, or we know that those are the folks that are more willing to commit. So we could ask them to lead an event,
Or
right? If we
coordinate,
don't want to
yeah.
do it.
Mhm.
Because like I was wary of volunteering to say the Chinese New Year because I'm just overlooked.
right,
The one I'm more concerned about is fundraising.
yeah.
So we were willing to sort of bridge the gap, but I would rather not lead the
Social committee,
well, fundraising, but the specific event, the
antique.
antique show, yeah. And so we need to find somebody who's willing to take that on and really work
Okay.
with, yeah.
So, at this point, what has been done for the Antiques Roadshow? Just trying to get a date from
So
this guy that
the
was
guy,
gonna
I don't
be
even
this
remember
year.
his name now,
Bob,
but he said, oh, that sounds great, spring is wonderful, so this is about the time we should reach back
Yeah.
out to him again and schedule it.
Yeah,
So that's the next thing. But I would love it if we could do that by finding somebody who's willing to lead it. So Trish, if you're willing to lead it, that's great, but if not, then we should look to either someone here or one of the volunteers.
Well, I
and
would
see if
think-
they
and I don't wanna speak out of turn
Yeah.
for everybody, but when we kind of first got the names of the people that were
Yes.
interested in volunteering,
Yes.
we had decided that we didn't necessarily, the PAC didn't necessarily want to also be in charge of a committee because we've already got so much else going on.
Right,
So
right.
I think the first thing you might want to do is just reach back out to those people who said that they would be willing to either volunteer for a single event or for whatever it was and say, okay, we need volunteers to do this.
Yes.
And let's see and hope
See who raises his hand.
someone
So-
raises their hand.
So Tricia, what's your level of interest on the anti-roadshow? Do you want to run it, or do you want to find somebody to?
I do not want to run it.
Okay, so.
But,
I just wanted to make sure, yeah,
but that
right,
being said, I
yeah.
just want to say too that the responsibility, which obviously the responsibilities really will still incorporate all of us.
Right.
When it comes to, this guy runs the whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's somebody literally to sit at the door and take everybody's $3 for one thing, $5 for 4 things, let
We're
them come
just
in.
here.
But there
Yeah.
should be,
He
like, they
does
would
all
be,
the advertising,
great.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's not, you know, but when I say it encompasses all of us, because the one way that we did make extra money is we requested baked items from the families. So the people that came,
Right.
they paid $1 for water, they got a bag of cookies, I mean, that kind of extra stuff.
Do you think Becky might consider doing it? Is she
Um,
on
she-
the list?
She may, but I think if we have the list of people,
Just approach all of them and ask who's willing.
and but also say what it's gonna, I think what's important is to share with them what are the expectations. So
Right.
not just I wanna
What does it
volunteer
entail?
for Antiques Roadshow, it would be, we need a volunteer to coordinate with the gentleman, explain what the event is, coordinating with the gentleman, just so we can get all of that, and then,
the school.
exactly, so.
So I'm willing to be the, or, you know, whatever, the liaison.
Liaison.
Right, so to get the fundraising committee going, right? And so find out who's willing to put time and effort into it. And so A, get the committee going, and B, make sure somebody is following up on the Antiques Roadshow, because that's our big event.
That's the big one
right?
that I wanna
We
make
don't
sure
wanna
we
lose
don't
that. Yeah.
lose on that
Yeah.
one. So why don't we do this? Why don't I put together a communication
Yes,
that is gonna go to all of the volunteers that I have already said that
Okay.
they were interested, and say, here's the things that we have coming up. So, and I'm gonna list
yes.
Antiques Roadshow, this multi-event night that's still in planning that we might need some help with, and do we need
Chinese
help with
New
the
Year?
Chinese New Year?
Yeah, let's grab
Yes.
people that,
Yeah.
you know.
What I
volunteer.
need though, like for Chinese New Year, if you could just send me a couple bullet points of
Sure.
this is what the person would need to do for Chinese New Year, for Antiques Roadshow, if you know more about this.
Yeah, I don't.
Trish
I
knows
don't
more
know,
than you
so-
do. And then if you guys, anybody has any thoughts on the multi-night thing, what we would need help with. I think for the multi-night thing, or multi-event night, we should still, if we can, have the option to let kids stay after school. So we would need
Yes.
chaperones for after school.
Yeah.
And then obviously somebody that one could be fairly big. We might, I'm
Yeah, it's a
assuming
big
you would
event.
assist with the open mic karaoke stuff.
Yeah. I
But then, you know, somebody for the trivia stuff and somebody for, if we do the board games as well. So then we need assistance with that.
When is the play, by the way?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I got it. It's mid-March, I'll tell you the dates. It's March 11th and 12th.
So can we look at that also as a school-wide event? I know the students run it, but if last year Andrew approached us to provide
Right.
support. And I think if we look at it as PAC is here to support that event, and at least the Friday night, right? Treat it as a real sort of school-wide.
And they're just doing Friday night and Saturday night this year, they're not doing the Sunday.
I think that's a good idea, yeah.
So I can tell you that Hannah is going to do the pasta and play. She'll be responsible for that portion of it. And I would only assume that PAC will be asked in some capacity to assist
Yes.
with that.
I
You make
mean,
a mean CD.
yeah, I mean, 2 or 4 trips
Right.
to get to, yeah.
But that, we should also be mindful
Yes.
of
So can I count on everybody just to send me bullet
Bullet
points and
points.
everything, and then I'll put it together, and then
Sure.
we'll get it out?
Look,
Does that work?
Sure, what about the alumni? The alumni week?
luncheon.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
that is
December 21st.
21st, yeah, let me know.
What do we
Oh,
need?
Jason, Hunter will be in Portland, Oregon, but he said if he'd like to, he would Skype in.
Sure. I'll bring him around my laptop.
So I know I'm coming,
Yeah, you can
Is
Skype
it
with
a
me.
help, yeah?
I'm sorry,
Okay.
you can Skype with me.
Did
and
that graduate student, the student that was a graduate piece coordinator?
yep, Andrew's
You just
coordinating
need
it.
hands.
What day?
Yep, I think so.
December
The
21st.
21st in the afternoon.
Oh, yeah, I'm not on town.
So we're doing a 1-hour delay schedule that day. Let me get this over here we go.
What does that mean?
What's that?
That's internal.
Oh,
So,
okay.
internal to the school, not for you guys. So students, anytime you have like an event within the school day, we have like a delay schedule. Yeah, the delay,
Yep.
because it's a snow day schedule, that's where the delay
Yeah, yeah,
comes, but we still have school all
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
But we run a snow day delay schedule, so we have free time at the end. So it's like an accelerated schedule, and we're doing an hour at the end. So from 1:45 to 2:45 is the all-school meeting with alumni. So they're invited to lunch, and before that, this room is gonna be, envisioned to be set up for them. So as they come in, from noon to 1:45,
So.
be like a reception room for them set up.
Lunch?
So it would, assuming that they allow that food.
I'll let Andrew know.
You know,
So I let Andrew know that the PAC would supply or, donate $200.
Yes, that's
And
a
he, I
very
think,
nice.
said thank you. But he hasn't, no, but what I mean is he said thank you, but he hasn't followed up to say, how do I get the cash?
No, really.
So it might be a matter of Andrew bringing you a
A
receipt.
receipt, okay, good.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And that's fine.
I can
So-
talk with them too and find out.
That would be nice,
The
just because
details.
Tara would need to know
Yeah.
to give him.
I could do that, yeah, I could
This-
figure it out.
I mean, Tara's having some surgery tomorrow. I
Yeah,
don't think she's gonna be out of commission for very long, but if it's 21st, I mean,
yeah,
we're,
that's,
we're here,
yeah.
and it's there.
He's not coming home until the 17th, so.
Well, I'll work on those details, and
Thank you.
if we, I'll let Tara know as soon as possible.
So Ilya and I are coming that day to help set up with the drinks.
Do we need more help on that day for anybody, or?
I think they're gonna be pretty self-sufficient. I
Okay.
mean, I have to bring my
I'd
son,
love to come.
so it's an
I
easy,
just don't know if.
it's an easy
Yeah.
trip for me to make.
I'm in California.
But we'll do drinks, pack
Can I go
it.
with you? I wanna go to California, that sounds way better.
We'll
Although
do
the weather's
We're gonna
not
drive
terrible
along the
here.
we'll
coast.
do the plates, napkins,
I'll send
those
pictures.
things we need,
Okay,
and help us set up.
alright.
11:30.
Okay.
Yes. Right, 11:30.
I think, I think it's really good that you started to push the people who said they volunteer. Because if you don't start getting them involved in it.
Now, I mean, I'm.
They won't do it, right?
Exactly.
They'll just drop off and then you guys will end up doing
It's
it.
gonna be all us all year, and that's not good.
Yeah, I know.
We want to get
Small
along
school.
too. Yeah. So we have to, think about succession too, right? We need to keep bringing
Yes.
people in
So,
to have the
Yeah, because I don't
rotation.
have any more kids.
here's what I'm, yeah, so that leads me back to the other question I had about engagement of these
Yes.
people. So, yes, we do the Facebook. Oh, speaking of which, there was a request for someone to join the Tech Valley PAC page. Did you take care of that? Because then I couldn't find it to make her a person. I think her name is like.
Stephanie Gibson.
Thank
Anybody
you.
know who
Yeah.
Gibson.
that is? PIP.
I know we have Gibsons that are on boards and so,
That's
I
all
don't know a Stephanie Gibson, I know David Gibson, I know.
Well,
I
this
can
is a
find
name
out.
that's familiar.
The deep
Yeah.
perspective.
The last name I recognize,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't know
You recognize
Stephanie
last-
Gibson.
If we don't recognize somebody, we probably should.
Well, he's right, yeah, that's why.
I recognize the last name, but I do not know the first name. I could find it, let me Google mine.
Okay, so my
If they
point
stand
is
us, we'll
that, and now it's hindsight, because I'm thinking of these things after the fact, but what I think we should also do, and I can do this, or Will and I can do this, is, I have my own distribution list for you guys. I gave it to Will. We should make a distribution list for the volunteers. And just include them in communications, like,
Okay.
instead of just the Facebook page, hey, tonight's the PAC,
Right.
meeting, actually include them in the other stuff, so that, I might send out like an email saying, we wanna do this, are you cool with it, and then just give them the information on, obviously, what we have.
Somebody might raise their hand and say.
Right, so I'm saying, I can do like a separate distribution when I send out reminders that the meeting is next week and those types of little things, and just try to get them a little bit more involved with personal communication that way. And then we have stuff like when he sent out the survey, I could have sent it to them, and I still can.
Right.
Send it to them and say, just so you know, this is what the children are interested in, and that type of stuff. I mean, it doesn't hurt, extra communication never hurts. If we have any other ideas or things.
I think
we can
it's
do
great as a
different.
way to keep them involved, informed, let them choose if they want to be more involved.
Exactly, so. Okay. Alright. Anybody have, because we kind of covered all of these things.
Yeah, that's great.
All in our discussion, so, does anybody have anything else that they want to discuss? Any business?
Tom?
Any gifts for Chinese New Year first?
It's not the way it works.
So we don't, I just want to put it on the agenda.
Thank
because
you.
It's already on our radar at home.
Should you have a prom committee?
So, no, my concern is it doesn't really have anything to do with prom itself. I'm speaking as a parent. When I hear that prom is on a Friday, I have a child that's choosing not to get her hair done by the BOCES people coming in and would like to leave school. She's being told that she doesn't participate in a whole day of school, she can't go to prom.
Oh, so
Do
hold
you
on,
know-
back up.
Any of this is true?
I
Prom has been
personally
scheduled?
don't know any of this.
So rumor, let me start by saying, rumor has it, prom's on a Friday.
Okay, that's.
Rumor has it, from source, that if the child does not attend a full day of school, they can't go to prom. Rumor has it that if the girls want to get their hair done, they can stay here after school and have their hair done by
Jim probably knows more, sounds like this.
BOCES
What?
students. Yeah, BOCES has
So
a
they can-
hairdressing
Oh,
program.
really?
Practice.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they do.
It's a great free service,
Okay.
but my child doesn't.
Well, see,
Right.
Yeah, yes, they're
I
like.
think I heard that there was concerns with the dates,
There's always
meaning
rumbling.
to get a place. It's the only thing I heard, because the
Yeah,
only
we-
interactions I had, because yearbook, we want prom in the
Oh,
yearbook.
for, yeah.
We gotta get it in by this early May. Because we have to deliver,
Prom was early May last
we
year.
have to have
Yeah.
the prom, the yearbook complete by,
God.
Why do we call it prom? Because it absolutely scares away Sadie. I don't know what about the other boy.
5/11.
It doesn't only dance.
So to get the yearbooks by 6/8, we gotta
Yeah.
have the yearbook done by 5/11, we reach prom has to happen
Well,
by 5/11.
do you have a
That's
suggestion
only
for another
concern.
I don't, and it's not up to
I was
either, right? It's not
Well,
not our,
you know,
I'm just sort of
I mean,
curious
we
why.
Oh, I'll never forget when I heard it last year and Jack says, "Oh, Mom, I gotta talk to you about prom." I'm like, "You're not a senior, you don't talk to me about prom."
Our-
He goes, "No, we all go."
I know, my prom has been really
Right.
nice, because everybody goes,
Yeah, it's
it's not a
They
traditional
actually
prom.
didn't have
This is
as
a-
much time.
It's
I want to say
always
like
been
English
well
history to it or
received,
something.
Yeah, no. It
like
was-
all ages.
It was May
Does
16th
it matter
last
that
year.
much?
And we
But it
had
does,
to, I
though,
begged,
some of them.
it was tough getting your
They
yearbook.
think of it as being senior prom, even though the school says it's, so the
No,
difference
it's
is.
open to everyone.
It's open,
Yeah.
that's the difference.
Yeah, but a ninth grader
So,
last year
because
was
they don't
senior
get
prom.
enough students.
Because there's
they
only
do
100
seniors,
students.
right?
So,
It's always a
it's
really
prom,
nice-
but it's open to all 4 years.
Right.
So say you would go if it was a dance, but if it's, okay, I'm not convinced that's true, but, because it's called prom, he like rules it out, says, I'm not going to the prom, I'm not a senior.
I think,
I think that's just communication.
Then-
One, you can go by
and
yourself. We
perception.
had students go, a lot of people go by themselves.
Yeah.
We
And they
kids
don't.
always pitch it. This is not a traditional prom.
Yeah,
This is
so
for
that's what we have to
everybody.
do, I think.
My daughter
parents
went with
need to
3 other
tell them
girls.
Yeah.
This is not a traditional prom.
yeah, I mean, it's
the
My
school-wide
son,
dance.
wore
It's
his
the big
father's
school
suit
dance
to
of
the
the
prom.
year.
I wasn't
Yeah.
even buying a suit at that point.
My daughter wore a dress.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Oh my
Bigger.
God.
I really encourage
Wait, she went
students to
to-
go.
So
Yeah.
Mike, did they
I
go
think
last?
last year it was down at the,
She had a
But
great-
every
No,
year.
they actually
I
had
hear good things
a great time, because
Well,
I was
I'm
like,
sure they
really?
will, I'm sure
I
they
even
will.
said to Jack, I said, "Did you dance?" He's like, "Yeah, all night." I was like, "Shut up."
They're not doing it never for the bill.
If you guys remember, the big problem with prom last year is that they almost didn't have enough tickets sold.
I know,
Right.
but that's probably why I
Every
read, and
I mean,
That
having
is
been at
good.
this school for 7 and now going on
Couldn't
8
they just
years,
call it an end of the year
everybody
dance?
goes.
So that's my feeling.
Not everybody
about it,
goes
but
until the last
some people
minute.
want the real,
Every year,
well, I think that it's
and
not
everybody
some,
enjoys it.
and I think it's not some people, I think, being a senior prom.
you want this prom.
You want it to be called a prom.
Yeah.
We
You
let
know?
seniors run it, and that's, I think,
Juniors
That's-
normally do, right,
Yeah.
give it for the seniors.
we let
Okay,
this,
okay.
our school, the seniors plan it and all that stuff.
Okay, well,
Well, that's nice.
we don't want, it's
I didn't
local
know
tradition,
that, I
I
didn't
wouldn't want to
realize
break
that,
it.
that's nice.
But,
They
but I
pick
think
their
it's
school,
parents,
they
we
They
pick
pick
should
the
really,
theme and the venue,
Yeah.
we let the seniors control most of all
Yeah.
that. Ms. Howard is the adult, the
Uh-huh.
supervisor,
Right.
advisor. I will ask her many questions.
Yeah.
Uh,
Can you just tell her rumors are?
But
Maybe just have her send at least back to us a cheat sheet of where things are
what's
at.
going on? Where are these
Because-
at?
Nice.
I think the other thing is maybe the liaisons could kick some of this back to the parents, because
Yeah.
I'm not so sure the student filter of information
Oh, God, no.
is really working for us.
Yes, I
well, I
agree.
like that we have all
What's
these dates
your
now, I can
filter
put that into the.
The
I know this
blockage.
year, we have 2 constraints. One is the yearbook constraint.
Right.
If
Thanks
we
a lot,
want
Jason.
prom in the yearbook, we don't have to have it in the yearbook.
No,
Well,
it's
yeah,
nice.
everyone wants it in your book.
It was great picture.
Yeah.
It's a
As long as we
deadline
make
that
it-
we have to have the yearbook into the company so they can print, and that's May 11th. So it's Wednesday. I could work with them to extend it, maybe a handful of days.
You almost have to have it on the weekend before.
Exactly.
Yeah, the 6th.
And then we do design those pages literally that next Monday, and we give it to the company as a package that next day. I mean, that's how quick it goes.
And the
So
other
like
issue
prom-
of.
Why is this yellow?
No school.
Spring break.
That's what spring break is?
Yellow is no school.
Well, there's always
Wow, that's
February and
neat.
April break, so yeah.
Yeah,
So then the
Yeah,
other- other issue becomes home school districts having their prom.
true.
So
Exactly.
they can have seniors.
When did you, do we want to know when those are?
They start at the end of April, May, right?
It's
So-
usually, most proms are right here.
Yes.
Right, so
Where are
they? And that's
originally
why-
May 6 or May 7, everybody else.
A lot of them are booked by
They're-
this time, and it's, I know that was a big thing, is trying to go
Right.
on lights.
Right now, they're leaning on a Friday because of cost and availability.
Availability, and trying to get it into the yearbook.
I just float out to have them look at the break dates. Nobody's going to be doing.
Last I heard it was gonna be the day before.
Right, but how many kids
Mother's
are
Day, but they
constantly
didn't want
away or
That's,
going?
that's.
I mean, I don't know. I don't.
So what I heard
Is that bad? I
was,
don't know.
when's Mother's Day?
Mother's
it's
Day
up to
is.
them.
Would that be the 8th?
It's the 8th.
So the first pass was the 7th, and then I guess that was a big to-do about being the day before Mother's Day.
Why?
And then they moved it to the, that's what I heard,
To the
Yeah,
5th
yeah.
to the 6th.
for Friday, yes.
That's what, the last I heard.
If it hurt, it's also more affordable and more available.
That makes sense.
Right.
Those things make
Just
sense.
like weddings.
Right.
Right.
But, so, I guess my question is,
But the whole.
if prom is, say,
idea-
let's say if prom is at 7 o'clock on Friday night, which is, I think it was 7
These are the
o'clock.
same girl
Right.
issues I'm dealing with.
But my point is if it's 7 o'clock on a Friday night, school gets out at 2:45. That's not enough time to get ready.
Well,
It's an
that,
hour ride home,
Wait,
it's an hour
you-
ride
Yeah,
home.
yeah, you've got
I
some
mean,
license.
I have a like,
another thing, we
I have a
have,
girl too. I'll
every year
eventually
we
be
have
dealing
Spirit
with
Week
it, but.
leading up to prom.
Oh, yeah.
So there is a possibility if we convince Jim, if we want to get out at 2, because that last day is usually a field day.
Yep.
Yeah, but is that gonna really work with school transportation and stuff? Can that
No,
happen?
Yeah.
Well,
Well, you have-
if you really want to leave early, you can pick up.
Your parents can
So
come in,
the PAC can rent a van and put all the girls want to
So
go
you
there.
try that.
And-
But you tried it, that's already been discussed, I think you're talking about having.
I will
Really?
ask Ms. Howard to send me an update where
I'll
it's
dress
like,
up
what's
as a-
finalized, what's open, and I'll push it out. It's a mess.
I think- I don't, I mean, I totally
Tuxedo,
understand.
yeah, that's
I guess the hour home still is, I guess you're right. All right, okay, I guess you're right.
But the
I
other
just
thing-
put my girl hat on, I guess you're
Yeah.
right.
So the other thing is PAC that we should
Although the
consider.
girls see the nice, sweet hairstyles could be a benefit to some girls, not
No,
all
I'm
girls.
not denying that.
Yes.
Well, you know.
It's-
I'm just saying, maybe the opportunity to
Well,
help kids if they want to go
Exactly.
early, and we'll be filled in afternoon if they get picked up. I don't think there'll be
These are
a
just all
big issue.
rumors, so if you could.
But you know what I'm saying, like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Spirit Week is that week, and we always end Spirit Week with a field
Field
day,
day,
which
yeah.
is a delayed schedule again, and we do activities.
Right.
If kids left at 2, I don't think it'd be a big deal personally. You know, if
Okay.
girls want to go get set on whatever for
So-
5 minutes.
So I also wanted to say, as PAC, we should also be mindful that each year we're asked to give a pretty substantial amount of money to help in some capacity to, if not just prom,
Yes.
sometimes the yearbook. So I think it's gonna be very important to be mindful when we speak to Bob about when is a good time, that we really have
Yeah,
to
yeah,
lean
get to
on
that,
what
too.
he suggests, because he really does, he does all the
He knows
advertising, he brings all the
everything, so yeah,
people. So I think if he gives us 1 or 2 dates, we're probably going to have to choose one
and go with
and
it.
go full force.
Absolutely.
Because we will need the revenue
And
before.
just for some history here, this is, I guess, I think the last couple of years, this hasn't taken as much as it used to in the past. The whole PAC was created for one, activities in the
Right.
community, but also the money aspect was to always fund kids or families that couldn't afford participation in prom or yearbook. So looking at the finances, so I talked to Charlie way back as a treasurer, they said we would never run a balance because they would spend everything that year on trips to China. Kids would want to go, we couldn't afford like awards, scholarships, yearbook, prom. Now, I don't think this has been going on as much the last couple of years, so we may want to revisit that, because there is there's like a few grand for PAC, or a couple grand for PAC. There's gonna be activities we do.
Yeah.
There is.
No,
It's
but
a-
our-
Well, see,
No,
that's
the whole
what
account
I'm
was
trying
8,000,
to-
but the
what I'm
PAC
trying to-
component was only like 20-something, 2,000
That's the
something,
only
right?
thing that I don't understand about this
Yeah.
report.
Yeah, I didn't
So
look at it.
the
This
PAC
is
line,
later.
there's the PAC line, right there.
Right here's the fund,
What's the
Oh, there
PAC?
it
as
is.
of date, yeah.
2,700.
Yeah, okay, so that's not
Alright.
trivial. Chinese New Year will cost around 400.
Right.
And last year, we gave about $1,000, we gave
Yeah.
without any fundraising.
Right.
Right.
So I'm just saying that I think that when it comes time
Right.
for us to set something up with Bob, we really need to just
Make
go
sure.
for it and somehow make it work.
I mean, my guess is we only have a year's cushion at this point.
Yes.
So we gotta, if it doesn't happen this year, we won't die, but next year we have
We
to.
would
Right,
die.
So.
Because there'll be a China trip next year,
Right,
Yeah.
there's gonna be,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree.
And, I mean, if the seniors get into a pinch, you don't want to see them not have prom if they,
Right,
what if
right.
they need $1,200?
Because you need,
You know, we're not
sometimes
in
you
a
need cash
position
up
to
front.
say no,
Right.
right?
That's
You should have the
usually
amount
the-
in your
Yeah,
account.
that's
for
what
your
usually happens.
events.
And then the seniors next year have, you know,
Right, right. So, yeah, so we have a responsibility. So we should make sure to communicate that to the folks on the financial committee, that we need to, roll out some fundraising. We do have to get the value pack. Yeah.
Right, and making things affordable. I mean, we are a small school, the more affordable prom is, the more people will go. Like, I worked really hard getting yearbook, when first yearbook was like $50, it's down to 30,
right?
35.
That's great.
You know,
Yeah.
more affordable, more.
And there's a lot of
more-
Oh,
If
it's
the prom is
beautiful.
on a Friday night, I think it would be more affordable.
Yeah.
For them, yes.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, did trivia night break even? Did we,
It was like $100.
it cost us?
No, we made. As far as I know, we made $100.
And think of it, what did we charge, $2 a person? I
Yeah.
mean, that was nothing,
That's
right?
Yeah.
We spent $100 on food,
Yeah.
we spent $300 on gifts, right, or prizes, so, I mean,
Did people
Not
buy
sure.
them, people buy them
Spent
too, like,
$400?
bought?
no, we charged everybody
Charged.
$2 to walk in, and we fed them,
That's,
gave them
It
drinks,
was a good
and
deal.
the winners got
We didn't have that many people.
25.
Yeah.
First place team got 25 apiece. So we spent $100 just on the first place team. What was the second?
Really? I thought it was just 10.
Well, I mean, I wasn't here, it sounds like a really successful night.
Yeah.
If we're doing 5 or 6 events a year, then you have to make more than $100, right?
Oh, of course.
Well, the goal
That
was
was,
just to
that
get people
was
here.
just to get
Right.
people
Yeah.
here. That one wasn't
Yeah,
gonna be
it
a
wasn't a
money-making event.
fundraiser.
That was not a
Right.
money-making event. That was a, let's
Double
just
check that
get.
math on that.
I could be wrong. I don't remember. It was like 3 months ago now.
But at the same time, if we didn't do it as a fundraiser,
Right.
we wanted
No.
to cover the cost of the food.
Yeah.
That was
And
our.
Chinese New Year is the same deal as well. We just asked for $5.
Cover the cost, yeah.
The
it's
whole
not-
point is to get the whole school here.
Yeah.
not to-
We're not making
Yeah.
money.
Right.
The moneymaker is always like the auction.
That was huge.
That was huge. That was a big money.
But I remember when it was over at
Yeah.
the East
East
Campus,
Campus.
that was, if it made money, it surprised the heck out
It
of me.
made
It made a lot.
$3,800.
Made
It made
$3,800.
almost $4,000.
Yeah,
Really, over at the East?
yeah.
This is the money that's still.
That's,
And
that's,
this
Right.
topic
that's the
here-
only
Because
money.
I was there, and it seemed like it was kind of dead, you know?
You would think
Well,
that
they get,
it went a long time.
yeah.
People keep coming in, $5, whatever it is,
That was the biggest
Force-
moneymaker in the history of PAC.
Now,
Keep
keep in mind,
remember
that's an event that you can
Boy,
only run once
that-
every
Oh,
5
not
years
that
or
often.
something,
That
right?
did okay
Because you
for
exhaust the
triple.
local
Yeah.
supply,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah, no.
So, yeah.
So we'll have to eventually come up with other ideas.
Yeah.
The other thing, like, what about the kids, because like, the kids in my town, you drive by, there's a car wash, and obviously you can't do a car wash, but, we charge Jason, what do you do your
Sure, we can do a car wash, pick all the cars.
I keep watching Jason's car over and over again.
I think the hard thing with the kids is that there are so many clubs in the school and they all do individual fundraisers to try and make
Yeah.
money
For their,
for their club.
okay.
Yeah.
That it's really hard to grab them or to sway them to sell cookies for you because
Every other year and stay.
there's
PAC looks at that out,
just to maintain.
just to maintain. Then you leave the smaller type items for the clubs, and then you don't have to worry about major conflicts.
But
You're
this
able
is
to
one of the
supplement.
reasons for having a fundraising committee, because you build an expertise in that body.
So what I will
that sharing
do as
ideas.
part of our communication is ask for ideas.
Yeah,
Well, I
I
wanted
think so,
to
yes,
I wanted
yes.
to do the flight again because they're so,
And I think the kids like that.
yeah, I think now that we can get the word out to everybody and then my daughters come back and say that they want to go.
Yeah.
And they do that fundraiser, it was.
It was easy.
it was
Yep,
so
and in the
good.
winter
Yeah,
months, doing something
You know,
that involves
Yeah.
physical activity is really good.
yeah, and
That's-
I was gonna check with GovTill's roller rink and see if they do something like that. And then, you know, it's not exactly a organized night out, but if the kids say, oh, we're going to this thing on Saturday night or whatever,
I think flight was effortless.
it was.
Yeah.
We just had to show up.
I'm looking at
They were so
empty
nice.
roadshow, not auction.
Yeah,
Empty
it's a
roadshow.
roadshow, yes.
Yeah, it's roadshow.
And the big reason I made money was because it got people from around
The whole
Greenbush
community,
yes.
came. They were
Yeah.
signs, people.
Yeah.
It wasn't just our school community, people
Yeah.
from the outside came.
He's very interested in getting into this demographic over here.
Yeah,
So-
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I heard.
I'm worried that would you mind at least reaching out to him to see if we could get some dates so we can make it?
Yeah, I think it's
sooner
Suchi, you're
rather than
gonna
later?
continue the conversation with Bob at least,
Well,
or
no? I can't, I thought you were gonna do that, but I'm happy.
if I'm committed, okay.
That's all, I
Yeah.
think, so I wanna get the word out to the, so everybody send me their bullet points, I get something together, get it out next week.
Yes,
But I think we need to at least talk to the guy.
yes.
I can give you the phone number, I don't care, whatever's easier for you, so we can get some dates, we gotta get that
And Trish,
nailed
you
down
remind me-
now.
It's okay, I can do it.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
I have a friend.
Good.
So that we get the dates, and then, because we don't wanna miss out our opportunity on that,
Yes,
it's
that's
December,
fine.
and that makes me nervous, so we definitely wanna do that sooner rather than later, so everybody do that. Is there anything else we need to talk about?
Trish, I'll forward you the last correspondence.
Perfect.
You have that you can reply and follow up.
Okay,
And you can copy me on it too, just in case, whatever.
okay.
Will,
Good.
what's up?
Have a Merry Christmas
6:59.
and a Happy New Year.
Thank God.
Happy
Well done.
holidays.
Yes.
Happy-
Yes.
Bye-bye.
I'll
I
just
signed